Hey everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Might I Add. I'm Kyle Partain, and today we'll be previewing two of the spring's biggest sports. That's right, everyone, grab your peanuts and head out to the ballpark because you know what time it is. It is baseball and softball seasons, and they are right around the corner. We're here to talk about all things going on with those two sports. We're going to preview their seasons, and joining me today is HTF standout Emely Hernandez. Emely, how's it going?
Pretty good. I'm excited that the Chiefs won yesterday, and got that right for once.
Hey, you know what? Chiefs won. It was an exciting Super Bowl, and unlike last year. But we'll start things off with UCF Baseball. Last season, the team wrapped up the season with a record of just 36-22, and while it sounds good, they only won 11-13 in conference play. There was a clear frustration surrounding the team, and a lot of that has people questioning the future of the program of UCF Baseball. Emily, what does this baseball team need to do this season to get that bad taste out of their mouths?
Well, last season I noticed that they had a lot of injuries, and so keeping those pitchers healthy and keeping them going, make sure their arms are ready, they're doing the proper treatment. I feel like that's gonna go a long way, because as good as your defense might be, it's nothing if your pitcher can't put the ball where they need to put it.
So you think Joe Sheridan's gonna have to have a big season?
Yeah. Joe's definitely gonna have to have a big season, and there's another pitcher who is oh my god, I forgot his name. He also is coming out of an injury, and if Lovelady can make sure that these pitchers aren't overthrowing and just staying in that good pitch range, they can probably go a long way.
Yeah, and there's a couple people coming back, but the team does bring in 10 freshmen this season, meaning there's a lot of inexperience, but there is also a lot of future talent on the roster. However, no presence on the team this season shows more talent than Dalton Wingo. Wingo is one of the most talented batters left from last season's team. The junior steps into what could be his final season with UCF as a huge leader for the team. So, Emily, what does Wingo need to do both on and off the field to keep this team's head level?
I feel like he has to just set an example, set that standard for the whole team. If he continue, if he just picks up from last season, I feel like all the new incoming players, whether they're transfers or freshmen, can definitely look at him and okay, so that's the UCF standard. That's what I want to meet and exceed.
Absolutely, and I think he's very capable of doing that. We'll see.
Sure.
We'll see as the season progresses where this team's emotions are, but I think they'll be pretty much kept in check with him at the helm. However, this season the Knights have a relatively favorable home schedule, unlike last year. However, there are still some big names on the slate this season, including the yearly games against Florida State and Miami, as well as Butler and Auburn, plus your usual conference foes. So, Emily, I'm going to ask you a quick question here. Which of these series or matchups stands out to you as the most critical before the season gets underway?
I think that Tulane and ECU are definitely going to be big ones, just because their conference play, they're really up there in the conference, and we lost to them last year in the playoffs. So just kind of redeeming themselves, I feel in season, and then that'll show up in the postseason. It'll really what's it called? Boost their morale, boost their confidence in themselves as a team.
Oh, it's extremely important to have that confidence in conference play. Mm-hmm. And ECU, always a tough team to beat. They're always towards the top of that conference standings. Very good program. Going to be a very exciting series. However, like the baseball team, the UCF softball team had a very underwhelming season last year as well. Despite having loads of talent, the team went 34-21 with a conference record of just 11-10. In head coach Cindy Ball Malone's first season. So, Emily, how does Coach Ball have to make the adjustments, and what adjustments does she need to make to have this team improve in year two?
So last year I feel like it was really just a year of exploration for her, for the team. I feel like bouncing off of last year, they really have molded together. They trust the coach. They can trust each other, even with the new players, the new transfers. It was just really about building that new culture with Ball. And this that'll just pick up from here. That's what I hope.
Absolutely, and that's always the toughest part of getting a new coaching gig, a new coaching staff, is getting that that system in place. Exactly. And despite losing a lot of the talent as well as the baseball team, the Knights do return one of the best pitchers in the entire country. Senior Aaliyah White returns to lead the Knights this season. White leads an elite defense that's poised to make some noise in the conference this season. So, Emily, how important is White to this offense, and how do they best utilize her in a series?
White's huge. White's huge for this team. Last year, she appeared in 39 games, and she had a 1.61 ERA. 39 games and a 1.61 ERA. That's crazy. So, like, I was talking to her the other day, and she said it's not just her, it's the team, but she does carry a lot of that pressure as a pitcher to maintain that consistency throughout the whole season. A way to utilize her this season, I feel, is just making sure her arm stays healthy, that she continues just consistency throughout the whole season, because if they keep going, you know, you're going to want your best pitcher, like, healthy and ready to go.
Absolutely, and it's insane how talented she is.
Yeah.
Like, she is legitimately top of the country good, top 5 pitcher in the country good. While the baseball team has just a few enticing matchups, the softball team's schedule is loaded with exciting games. Their season opens with Indiana, but they also play the likes of Clemson, Washington, Tennessee, Michigan, UCLA, plus their usual matchups against Florida and Florida State. So, Emily, give me 3 matchups that you really like right off the bat.
I liked the Florida one just because Florida is, you know, it's a ranked team. It's a, I don't want to say hometown team because that's our title, but it's a Florida team, so it's a lot of pressure throughout the whole state to, you know, meet that standard. Another team is University of Washington. Those girls are on another level, ranked number 1 in the country. Like, they have to rise to that same standard that the University of Washington is at. And USF, who was, I think, first last year in conference, and this rival team, they really have to step it up, win the war on I-4, and, you know.
I think, I'm going to be honest, I think you picked the 3 best matchups in the entire season. Those are really, really good. Florida always it's kind of the top-tier program in the state, and to be able to compete and potentially defeat that team is always fun. Washington, really good, like you were saying, number 1. And then obviously the War on I-4 is always fun. All right, Knights fans, it's time to take a look at this week's upcoming games. The men's basketball team is going to play at East Carolina on Thursday before they host Tulsa on Sunday for the first ever space game for the men's basketball program. The women's basketball team is going to hit the road to take on Tulsa on Wednesday. And now we're at to softball. They'll start their season when they host Indiana on Thursday and Friday. And the team will also play Clemson and Duke on Saturday. That Knights team will keep their busy week going when they rematch Duke as well as host St. John's on Sunday. Well, that wraps up everything here. Thanks to everyone watching. It's been a great one. And be sure to tune in on Mondays at 12 to see Jarrett Kappelman and the crew bring all of our biggest sports content to you. And of course, you're not going to want to miss our weekly HDF podcasts. And be sure to follow us on social media at Hitting the Field to keep up with what's happening here at HDF. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. I'm Kyle Partain. She's Emely Hernandez, and we'll catch you next week on Might I Add.